Yeah, we really try to straddle both continents, North America and South America. So, US companies are our customers, and they want to play by the same rules that they're used to, right? So they want to have US contracts, they want to have US invoicing and bank transfers and
Mm.
just under like onboarding, like it all has to feel like they're doing it in the States. Because if it feels like they've got to deal with all the Wild West of Latin America, it gives them pause. So we have legal entity there, we do all of our business there. And then we have all the infrastructure south of the border. So we have the ability to move machines and hardware all throughout the continent, which is no small feat when you've got tariffs and customs and all sorts of things that kind of get stuck and you can't get them to the right person. We're so used to like Amazon Prime and then, our thing gets there the next day. It's so much harder there. And we've got the recruiters down there that can, speak to them and then speak to the candidates in their native language, but also validate their English skills. So our recruiters are very bilingual as well. And then from an onboarding standpoint, uh, not only are we really, really good at getting candidates up and running and acclimated to their new client and environment, but by the opportunity for that candidate who just started to check in with us in their native language, it's really amazing what they'll tell us versus what they might tell their client. Because in the client, it's more formal, it's in English. Um, so everything's fine, but everything's not fine, like they're waiting for direction, they're waiting, like they don't have access to this tool, they're waiting. So like they'll share all that stuff with us so we can fix it. But if they don't say anything and the client doesn't know, it quickly goes off rails. So, the firsthand experience, the different entities and infrastructure, the experience knowing how to make this happen across a wide variety of Latin American countries, the advice, I think all that really sets us apart from our competitors.
Would you be able to share with us the most common type of scenario in which you help a US company do this connection and then like numbers wise, like are they making this much more? Are they saving this much more? What does that
Yeah.
kind of look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'd say we really have two types of customers. We have smaller businesses that are maybe making their first or second hire of someone outside of their country, and they're looking for some leverage. They don't have $1 billion in the bank, so they want their cash to count, right? And what we'll do is understand their budget, what do they want to do with hardware, how long, how many hours, all this, and kind of advise them, okay, based on what you need, I would say Lima, Peru is the place. Or I would say Sao Paulo, Brazil, or Florianopolis, or wherever, kind of navigate them. And the other type of customer is what I call a mid-market business or a late-stage venture capital funded company. And here, they're not looking for one hire, they're looking for many hires, and they're looking to build a team quickly. It could be QA, it could be software developers, it could be marketing people. Just this wide, they want to be able to get quick ROI. And they're looking at things like efficiencies and they're looking at flexibility and they're looking at optionality. So a little bit different from that small business owner. And, we're able to serve these two segments quite well and we can move quickly. Um, in terms of like cost, so if cost is the number one most important thing, it's very difficult to beat Asia. And I would actually recommend companies if they come in, maybe they've got a number in mind. I'm like, I don't think we can do that. I don't try to force anything. And in fact, I'm even an investor in a similar company of mine in the Philippines, and I'll refer, business over there. But there's a little bit of a trade-off, where I think the Philippines especially, um, and I'll hear this time and time and time again. It's just not my opinion. It's a lot of customer opinions that um, they love their team in the Philippines, but the requirement of them is that they have a very clear step by step process that they can have the team in the Philippines follow. Um, Meanwhile, when I look at myself as a business owner and your audience, and you could probably get the sense like I say yes and then I figure stuff out. I don't, it's like, fire and then aim, right? Like, I
If
don't,
you if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't have gone to Argentina in the first place.
that's right. Yeah. So I don't really think I just do. And, um, I think I owe, where I am at life to that. Um, But I don't think I'm alone. I think more entrepreneurs than not, more business owners than not are, fire and then aim. So that means they're not thinking about like everything's got to be a process and step by step. And this is where Latin America is really interesting because you've got a whole population that kind of thrives on figuring stuff out because they're dealing with a lot of governmental, geopolitical, economic volatility and things that they can't control, and they've got to find workarounds, and they're perfectly fine with that, taking chaos and making that calm. Um, so if you were looking at just pricing generally, you know, um, the US is the most expensive. Latin America is kind of in the middle. We take our ice hockey example, it's the middle guy. And then, Asia, but, when I think about like software, it's the Philippines, manufacturing, China, and back office, call center is the Philippines. Um, that's going to be the least expensive. And you just have to ask yourself of if I am a process person, I've got it all clearly labeled, go to Asia. You're ready to maximize that. If you don't quite have all this figured out, um, you might prefer Latin America. And there's also this element of everybody's got the same workday. The sun's up for everybody at the same time. And I think that goes a long way, when you're trying to get work done.
How is success like martial arts?
Oh, you gotta chop off the stuff that doesn't matter.
Nicely done. So that's how success is like martial arts.